which is the Doodle Club Design Club. Basically, with the Doodle Club Design Club, what I've done is I have pretty much created a club on ways to improve or to focus on the design of Doodle Club and also other game project ideas. And so I naturally do that. I like working on Doodle Club and designing new ideas and concepts and improving Doodle Club. And I also like working on other game design concepts. So having a club doing this, whether other people show up or not, it doesn't really matter because I'm going to be doing it myself anyways. I get joy out of the whole process of thinking about ideas and improvements for Doodle Club anyways. And that's where you want to be, is to find a club topic, theme, or passion where regardless of whether people show up or even if you have fans, you're going to enjoy doing it. Because that joy will come out in the projects you do and the way you interact with other potential members and potential fans and all this other stuff, and it will attract them to join your club or to help your club in some way. So for me, I have the Doodle Club Design Club, and to manage my club though, people are like, "Oh, well, you're one of the heads of Doodle Club, and so hey, I want to join your club." And so I can't necessarily let everyone stay in the club. I have to make the club, even though like you look at the joining request, I have 271 joining requests right now. I have to make sure that the club is set up in a way that's actually constructive so that I actually enjoy running the club. If you have like 500 member or 50 members in your club but they're all inactive and they're not really helping you, well, do you even really feel good about that? So I've decided that basically I enjoy having members who are very active. And so as part of the requirements for my club, you have to attend at least 4 meetings a week on time to stay in the club. And if you don't do that, I kick you out. And yes, at times I've been the only member in my club because people couldn't show up or whatever happened. But over time, eventually the people who are passionate and who can help me and can engage in the meetings in a way that I find enjoyable show up and then they become members. And so it is hard to stick to your principles sometimes at first because you're like, oh, well, no one's showing up and should I change? What should I do? And I've talked to some players who like, I tried to start a club, but no one would show up and it's hard to keep them active. Look, first of all, make sure that your club is fun for yourself. Okay. And then have events, have projects, do things that amplify the fun that you would have. So for example, if you like role playing and having RP sessions or role play sessions with other potential fans or members, well, that's fun for you anyways. And so if members participate, well, they might be having fun too, and so will fans. So I feel like if you, at least for me, starting a club that I enjoy is probably the best way to go. Don't try to start clubs because you think, oh, it'll be popular, this or that or whatever. Yes, there's a little bit of that, so you can kind of attract some people. I've seen some people do that with Five Nights at Freddy type clubs and stuff like that. And maybe that's because at that point they're interested in Five Nights at Freddy's, and there's nothing wrong with it. But if after a point you don't like what your topic of your club is, either change it or or find a new club. And in a way, Doodle Club Design Club has actually kind of changed a little. Over time, I focused on other designs that I also thought were interesting and compelling to think about. Because I wanted to talk about other projects that I wanted to release, which were pretty much the simulator games, like Let's Play Simulator or Emo Wolf Simulator or some of these other games. So once again, these topics were fun to me. Now, the other thing is that how do you ensure that the members who join will actually participate in the club? And one thing that I do is I say, look, if you want to join this club, fine. What you can do is before I let you in, show up to 5 meetings on time in 1 week. Because if the requirements for a basic member are to show up on time 4 times in 1 week, and you can't show up 5 times in 1 week for at least your first week, then you probably shouldn't be a member anyways. And it's amazing because I'll tell so many players like, okay, fine, you want to be in the club? Okay, awesome. Just show up to 5 meetings on time in 1 week. And it's amazing because very few people do that. And so I think that's another thing you need to consider is that basically have people pay it in advance in a way, like have them kind of simulate what they'd have to do in your club in advance and see if it works out for both of you, because this way you can see if they're going to work out as a club member, and they can see if they'll even be able to be a good club member. um, so I think that's pretty much what I do with my club. I don't really focus on releasing projects, even though I know the other club that I talked about in the first episode, the Font Code Club, does release a lot of projects, and they get feedback and fans that way. And projects are fun as a way to kind of showcase what your club is about or what your club has done. So that's another thing you can consider. But anyway, so this is my basic formula for how to have a successful club is to create or manage a successful club, which is to create a club topic that I like, attract members that can work with what I'm going to need for this club to be fun for me. So for me to discuss Doodle Club every day, that's fun for me. So I need someone or a member. A person can be a member if and only if they can actually show up to at least 4 to 5 meetings a week and discuss Doodle Club ideas or game design ideas with me. I think that's fair, and that's what I need it to be fun, because ultimately, for your club to keep going, it's got to be fun for you. You're not going to be doing stuff that's not fun for you. So find find what it's going to take for you to have fun in this club. And if that means having role play meetups every day, that's fine. If that means releasing 2 to 3 projects every week, that's fine. Figure out what it's going to take to be fun for you. Now, because you know what? When you have other members or fans in your club, basically you're going to have to keep it fun for them. And if it's not fun for you, I think it's going to be really difficult to share any kind of fun or enjoyment with other players who come into the club. So that's the other thing you need to consider, is that as you hold these meetings and you have these events for your club members and fans, you need to also make sure it's fun for them. As a person in charge of a club, you're not only like the leader, but you're also an entertainer. And if it's not fun and enjoyable, people are going to stop showing up, even if they like the concept or the idea. The other thing that I used to do, but I don't do right now, but you might want to consider, is that I used to have special meetings or events just for fans, where they could show up and give me feedback specific to new ideas for Doodle Club. Now, they wouldn't show up to the main member meetings, because I just wanted the main member meetings were just going to be focused events with the members who were more committed. But I did have a few events just for fans where I could discuss ideas and concepts with them. They could even suggest new concepts and ideas for me. So that's something you might want to consider. So I think that's about it for how to manage a club. For the people who have role play clubs or clubs where they do a lot more projects, feel free to post other suggestions or ideas on ways to make or run a successful club. My goal is to actually organize all this material in a nice maybe guide, so that new club presidents have a guide on exactly how they can start their own successful club. Because that's one of the issues I've heard from players, is that they try to start a club, but it's so difficult. And once they start a club, they have members, but they're inactive. So if you listen to these 2 episodes, you'll have a better idea on how to start a successful club and how to manage a club so it keeps staying active, and also how to feel comfortable even when you may not have any members because you had to kick them out because they didn't follow the club rules or club guidelines for participation. Because you know what? At certain times in Doodle Club design clubs life, I've had it where I'm the only person in the club. And yes, I show up to my meetings alone, and that's fine. But then after a while, I'm committed. After like 1 or 2 weeks, people will show up again. And